Well, good evening there, my friends. I wasn't even sure if I was going to make a video, but here I am. Came out a couple times earlier, and I thought, nah, I'm going to go back in and finish watching the interview. I was watching an older Joe Rogan episode, and in fact, I don't even recall, I don't know the names of the people who were on there. I just remember it was about cannabis, and it came on randomly, and I was going to come out here and make a video talking about just kind of what my channel is all about and my thoughts on life. And a part of that was going to be somewhat about why I talk, well, why I speak the truth on how I feel about certain people and topics, and why I say what I mean, and how a lot of people don't quite understand that. There's kind of an interpretation people have of my channel, and it tends to be whatever they watched first. And as I've said before, I've got well over 3,500 videos that I've uploaded. I was just looking to when I started my channel. It was 2010, and I thought, man, this is my 10th year making YouTube videos. And in that time, I've always kept it real. I've kept my channel, pretty much to what I consider to be my own standards, and just speak the truth as I see it. And once in a while, somebody will hear me talk about a particular topic and say, "Oh, you shouldn't talk about this. It's controversial, or it might cause some subscribers to leave." And this comes up at least once a week, and I think, yeah, well, too fucking bad. I'm not here to impress. I'm here to discuss, but here to open up my heart and mind. And it's a lot harder than people might realize to come out and express truly how you feel when you're on camera, just without editing. I don't edit a bunch of bullshit together. Nothing more annoying to me than cut jump editing, or jump cut editing rather, where a person just makes a video where it's like blah, 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 because they cut out everything they don't want to see in themselves or hear about themselves. And I keep it real because that's who I am. Whatever. the Everything is controversy to someone is what I was kind of getting at. No matter what you talk about. When I was growing up, it was like religion and politics. Don't talk about religion or politics at work. And it's one of those things that's even worse today. You'd think that we would kind of get over that in time, but we really haven't. But now you can't even talk about whether the earth is flat, or round, or a sphere, or a goddamn pentagram, or a pentagon, or a hypercube. You can't even talk about whether or not there's, your kids should have vaccines in school, even when you can see that there's an outbreak in my own town, of measles this year, where a bunch of kids got infected. Whatever, people just believe whatever they want to read on the internet. And so my point there is that I'm speaking up on certain things because I have to, as a human being, but also because I have a voice. And I think most of you probably understand that. There's an obligation that comes along with a voice. Now, I only reach a couple hundred people, maybe. It's not that big of a deal. There are people out there who reach millions of people, and I just hang my head in shame at all the YouTubers out there who really have an actual chance to make an impact, but they're fucking loser cowards that can't do anything to help the world. Let's talk about, most of the really popular channels. All you have to do is hit that trending tab on YouTube, and you'll see every channel I'm talking about. Even some of the ones I like that I don't watch any of the, like Good Mythical Morning, people who have grown these huge channels, which are up there on the trending every morning with millions of views every day. And, you find they're not doing anything for society. They're not doing anything to help small creators or to improve their world. All it is clickbait. It's somebody standing there going, oh, looking at something extreme and, selling you some kind of merchandise. That's fine. That's the world we live in. I understand it. And it is what it is. But it's funny that people get so wrapped up in the bullshit, I guess, in life. And when I see that the mainstream is more wrapped up in makeup tutorials or, what somebody's eating in the morning, than anything really important in the world, any real, news that's out there. I thought that at this point in history, we would actually look at shit and be like, okay, the world's fucked up. We're going to do something about it. But no, we just went, nothing really fucking matters. I'm just going to go back to doing what I'm doing. And so here we are at this crossroads in life, I guess. This crossroads with the nation, anyway. And so to go back to the Joe Rogan interview, the guy he was interviewing, one guy was a cannabis advocate. The other guy was a guy who had written a book talking shit about cannabis and how it's dangerous. How the premise of the book is that cannabis can lead to murder. And they were calling him, and Rogan and this guy were calling him out for like an hour as I watched it. His main argument was that, cannabis can lead to psychosis. And you know what? I've seen it. It's no surprise at all. The thing is that correlation is not causation. Most of the people who develop psychosis would have anyway, and cannabis may trigger that in some people. But saying that cannabis makes you kill people ignores the vast amount of scientific evidence that it helps people. And that was the argument they were having, is how much was omitted from the book. And I'm not going to summarize or talk about that discussion. But it just really got me thinking, people can have long, detailed public discussions about topics that are very complicated and very misunderstood. And they can do it in a respectful way. And that's one of the things I love about Joe Rogan. He actually is, dude, you might as well wear a fucking referee shirt. I mean, in that interview especially, because the one guy who wrote the book was obviously getting kind of butthurt because he was getting called out by this other dude who knew everything about weed. And I loved it because I know a ton about cannabis, and I've always been a huge cannabis advocate. And I don't talk about it much on my channel because it's just part of my life. It's not something that I brag about. Like when I was a kid, yeah, I smoke weed, man. I got a fucking weed tie-dye and shit. Awesome, dude. I love this weed and this weed. It's just something that's part of my life, And but I love hearing somebody who can tear down and break down all the cannabinoids and the CBD and THC and say, oh no, there's CBN, and no, this is what you're talking about, and psychosis could be triggered. Correlation, not causation. Understanding the science, placebo effect, understanding the medicinal benefits as well as the risks. I totally agree with both of them. There can be risks and there are a lot of benefits. That's the kind of debate and argument I want to see. My point there was that Joe Rogan tends to keep things balanced. He refs things out. He's like, whenever one person gets frustrated, he's like, right on, and he kind of cracks a joke. And that's why I was mentioning that in my video the other day. People are like, why does Joe Rogan's opinion matter? It's not that what he knows. My question is, why does anybody's opinion matter? Why does my opinion matter? And a lot of people would say, dude, it doesn't. I agree. But it does to some people, so what can I do about that? Except for try to present an opinion that's fair and balanced and honest. So, honestly, it's funny because a lot of the topics, when I do talk about something that's controversial, I'm really I wouldn't say I'm only half interested. I would say that I get really into researching something and I feel passionate about the discussion, but people mistake it for anger. Like, oh man, why do you get angry about this? Or why do you get angry about politics? I'm like, look, I don't get angry. The word I'm looking for, I guess, is discombobulated? I have no idea what the word for it is. It's more like, it's not flustered or frustrated. It's more like dumbfounded. And it's kind of like when you see something amazing and you want to go tell somebody about it. And that's how I feel about politics. It's like this, oh my God, look what's going on here. But it's more than that because I also live in this damn nation. I hear about people, well, why does this even matter? It doesn't matter who you vote for. And it doesn't matter what anybody thinks anyway. Everything's an illusion. And oh God, we're living in the Matrix. And oh, it's some kind of, false reality. And, shut the fuck up. I'm just tired of hearing that. I don't care. This is a real world that most of us agree that is a reality we all live in. And we have to get jobs, we have to work, we have to live our lives. So the idea that ignoring politics and ignoring the world and ignoring your life is, going to help you out because then you're not part of the system. That's the attitude I had when I was like 20. It's a childish bullshit attitude. And I'm only saying that to kind of, you know, fucking bitch slap some of the people upside the head that think like that, because I used to think like that. You do have to be part of at least your local community. If you walk down the street and you see litter on the side of the road, you don't have to pick it up. But if you do, it makes your street look nicer. Now, if you see garbage in your own yard, you might be more likely to pick it up because it's your yard. That's the point. You extend your yard as far as you choose to. And so my point there is that politics, they're not something that most people just, well, let's just say I completely agree on many of the gripes that people have with the system. Our vote really doesn't matter. It doesn't. It really doesn't. The Electoral College chooses that. What are you gonna do? But people do have a voice, and any voice you have, you try to use in any way you can. And that brings me full circle to what I was saying earlier about why I speak up on issues that maybe are controversial sometimes. I'm obligated to. I have to. If nobody else does, I have to do it. Because what I've learned is that the loudest voices out there, and especially on YouTube, talking about the issues, are the idiots. Are the conspiracy channel, the Alex Jones morons in the world who say, oh, we're being censored, when really they're just a bunch of troublemakers. Anybody who still stands up for Alex Jones, and I've had a lot of people come down on me for talking shit about him. Look, there's an article that was written by one of his top dudes. He traveled around for Alex Jones and with him all the time to do all his stories for years. And he wrote this whole article about how fucked up it was and how Jones would make them make up stories, how he'd get mad and punch his employees and cause all these problems. He was a drunk piece of shit. That's what Alex Jones was. And yet he still is respected because he causes this anger. And he deserves to be called out, right? That's how I felt because I made a couple videos a couple years ago talking shit about Alex Jones. That's about as far as I go with it because he's not really worth it. And he has faded from the scene. But the loudest voices are always the most belligerent morons. And they take the reins and they try to convince everybody that everything's fucked up and the whole world's out to get you and buy our pills and our, always trying to sell you something, of course. But so in conclusion, the real issues do matter, regardless of what people may think. And some people are obligated to talk about them, or should be. We're all obligated. And we've constantly been lied to. I mean, we know that. Somebody was mentioning earlier, commercials back from the 1950s and 60s of guys in doctor suits smoking cigarettes, talking about how healthy certain cigarettes are for you. That's the shit we were fed. And today it's no different, except for it's different products. And which brings me to a complete separate video that I was getting ready to make earlier, which was talking about Gwyneth Paltrow and her Goop line and the whole bullshit new age garbage bullshit that they're selling you, magic pills and placebo for everything. Why does it bother me? Because I see people who are desperate and they're buying this. It's the same people who give money to pastors and priests and those evangelists on TV. Old women and men who give up their life savings to somebody in hopes of getting into heaven, It's really the same thing buying face cream from Gwyneth Paltrow. But don't listen to me. And that's the main point I want to make here in this video. Don't listen to me. I don't know shit. I'm just a human being. I know I know shit, of course. If you're a subscriber, you know that I know things and that my opinion is valuable to some, and to others, they don't give a shit. And that's fine. That's the way it should be. But don't listen to me on these subjects. Look them up for yourself. When I do talk about something, that's fine. We can have a great casual debate about it. But I'm only urging people to look a little more into things, to understand the world around them. We owe it to ourselves. This ongoing pattern is that we tend to look at the modern day right now. We're even told to look at the now, but we don't look to the future. So all the things that are going on around us, whether it's weather changes, social changes, upheaval, we tend to just kind of be like, oh, it's just another thing, and then it compounds and compounds, and pretty soon it's utter chaos, and we're trying to enjoy the moment that we have. But we need to take care of the future too, especially for our kids. So I'm a realist, but I'm an idealist, and I'm honest, and I try to do my best to cover topics without getting angry, without being hostile, without being too rude to people unless they deserve it. But believe me, if you say something stupid, I'm gonna call you out on it. That's just what I do. That's what my channel, isn't about a perfect certain set of standards that I have to uphold for anyone else. And I guess that's the beauty. I've heard a lot of the channels that I like saying they can't talk about certain topics anymore because, oh, well, they're getting demonetized. And you know what? Fuck the ad companies. I don't have to worry about getting demonetized because I don't get ad revenue anyway. I get patron donations from a few people, which I humbly appreciate. And for the rest of it, I do this because I love y'all. So I'm going to move on. It's getting late. It's probably around midnight here. And yeah, I toked a little bowl and took a little shot. But I'm going to probably get in the house and go to bed now, unless I decide to make another video about Gwyneth Paltrow's goop and all that bullshit. And this whole list of notes I have here about placebo effect and priests and prophets and chakras and frequencies and stupid little stickers that you put on yourself that are supposed to stop bad frequencies. I've had it with the new age community and their bullshit, scams. So that's why I exposed a lot of shit like this, because people spend hard-earned money hoping that they can get healed. And it's all in here and up here. So I'll talk to y'all soon, and we'll get to that later. Be well.